Trade Devils out there, happy Friday. Well, here we go. What do we got? It's 1 o'clock for me here in Texas. And, of course, we'll start out with Bitcoin. Interesting week we've had. This is the primary account I've been working with, but I'm wanting to explore an alternate. This count as I have it here. Oh, let me grab this here. And again, members know we've been over this a couple of times. Complete the impulse here. We've gone ABC into a W, right? And then we're going to do an ABC into an X, which is a shallow X. And then at this point, at this moment in time, all I can really conclude here is that I've got a completed ABC. The issue with that is, well, first, just a reminder, it's always an Elliott count. You know, this is a moment in time where this is what I've got to work with. Could this be the low? Well, it's got a lot of the right ingredients here. I had wicked this off the other day saying, okay, well, that's the last bit of liquidity that hasn't been grabbed, which now has been grabbed. So this is just what you want to see, right? I mean, some would tell you that is the single most important component of a good entry, or at least a good pivot, is that there was a liquidity sweep. Well, here we have it, right? I mean, it's literally textbook. But it's the balance between the two, the WX and the Y, right? If this is the Y over here, we're going to have a very shallow complete correction here. Oh, come here. If this would be to the 2, that's mighty shallow. And then this last ABC just doesn't have the right look. So that would have me hesitating to lean into this count and start trading off of it. I think the other scenario here that may be very real, given that yesterday, you have to attribute some of this to the, let's just say some of the things that are happening in, let's just call it, right, the stupidity of Trump and Musk and that bullshit. I'm sorry, right, I shouldn't get into that. But so here we sit, right, I've got this. That's all I got to work with. Well, the alternate here, if we're going to allow for a little bit extreme here because of that craziness, is that the X is still in being developed here, and we're going to get there through a flat, right? So we'd have a 3-3 deep, but again exaggerated by the pettiness, and then the sweep of the low here taking us up for an X here. That would, I think, balance this out. Now, of course, the market, because I'd say every week, is under no obligation to do anything ever. It's going to do what it's going to do. We're just trying to look based off of historical precedent and all of the things that you learn over time. Hang on. With tracking counts, you know, I would be more comfortable with this count here, kind of leaning into the, I've got a pivot here, but I don't think the correction, well, right now, it doesn't appear that the correction is complete. It would just be unusual. So that makes me come back to this and go, okay, let's start with a blank chart and rethink the whole thing. Is there an alternate here that we can't see? Because right now, as it sits, I'm going to take that out, and we just look at the volume profile, and we're in a big range, right? It's pretty hard to miss, right? We're in this nice, let's get that, let's make that a gray box, right? A nice big range here. Okay, we grab the low end, grab some liquidity, like literally textbook entry, vertical. Again, it doesn't have the right feel. So let me go over here, and it's just, this is an alternate count. It's valid. Let's get that off of there. It has some idiosyncrasies that are somewhat consistent with Bitcoin's history. I'm just kind of reworking the whole thing, right? Which often is a good idea to say, okay, let's start from the low here. We're going to use the $15,000 low, and let's reconsider an alternate here that would be just as technically valid, right, for rules and guidelines, but that might give us another option here. So that's kind of what I'm going to focus on today. Oh, this should actually be up here. It's up there. Okay. So 1, 2. Let's consider this as an alternate. Let's get our little marker here. So 1, 2, 3. You can pick your poison here, but 3, 4, 5. Right? That completed impulse. And what, you know, when we were over here, that looked pretty reasonable, right? It's with all of this, and then this looking, you know, very consistent with a 4. Okay, could the 3 be up here? I mean, those are the kind of things that you're influenced by as the market is progressing and it's revealing itself to us, right? Now, the thing that we can say, you know, we don't take a rocket science here. We got to swing, we got to retrace. We got to swing, we got to retrace. I got to swing, I got to retrace. I got to swing, I got to retrace. Now, I don't have this swing yet, but certainly just market structure would suggest that the path of least resistance likely higher, but not inevitably, right? We could certainly make a steeper correction down here and come into some of this consolidation here. Of course, again, my market's going to do what it's going to do. We're just trying to look for an area where we at least believe we have an edge. Well, if this is going to be a 1 and we could potentially put the 2 here, and you can pick your pivot, right? You can do it a multiple ways because of the complexity here, but I don't really think it matters, right? The point would be coming off of the last swing here is that I get an impulse here that gives us a candidate for another 1. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. That's, now as I say it out loud, I realize how insanely bullish that is. I'm insanely bullish. So I'm not going to shy away from this count. I don't care what anyone tells me. I think this is perfectly valid. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, these are all going to go much higher because I think it's just a matter of when, not if. My opinion, not financial advice, that's my opinion, that this is all just a matter of time. Okay, all right, so that said, okay, well, let's dig in here and consider it. So first is not whether this is the right count and the other count is the wrong count. It's not about right or wrong. It never is. It's only about profitability and identifying an area where you at least believe you have an edge. Hang on. Sorry, alerts on my other machine going off. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, well, let's just consider it. We'd have, well, Bitcoin is a bit notorious for tricky 2s or shallow 2s, and that's what is potentially implied here. Again, you could start it here. It doesn't matter, right? The point would be we get an impulse here, and this is the correction. As is not uncommon with Bitcoin, it's pretty tricky correction. So open to interpretation. I guarantee 3 eloticians or 30 eloticians are going to give you a lot of different counts here. But the question is, are they valid? So we can do an ABC into a W here. I can do an ABC, pardon me, and I can do an X here. Then I can do an ABCDE into a Y. Okay, right. So for the average Elliott trader, you may not give a shit about, oh God, I got to do an A and then I got to do another A and then I got another B. This is for the people that love to solve the puzzle, right? Can I use these tools, these rules and guidelines? Can I solve the puzzle? Is that solved? Yeah, it is solved. Is it valid, right? That's the first question you have to ask if you're applying Elliott Wave. Do I have a valid count here? Yeah, you do. This would put the 2 here. Now that would be the odd thing is here we've gone from these shallow 2s to a more traditional 2 here. We're making the 50, right? Again, you could pick, it wouldn't matter what pivot you use, right? I mean, some people were going to use this coming out of a triangle. Some people use this. Oh, okay, well, that we start here. Some people are going to use this, right? And we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It really doesn't matter. The point is, what comes off of the low? Well, what comes off the low is an impulse. Okay, are we done? Well, that's where I bring you back to where we started, which is done right here. Okay, it's possible. Let's go down to a 3 hour. See how we look. Open it up a little bit. On the premise, right? I'm putting the 1 here without certainty that it's a 1. But I have absolute certainty that I've completed an impulse and I'm in the process of correcting. Which brings me back. Oh, here, let's see if I can get it all in here. Which takes me back to from this low to this high. Well, we're a long way from what it typically will do. What most markets where you would anticipate the second wave would be 50, the golden zone, right? We got a nice high volume node here, so maybe, right? You can see why, right? Of course, right? It's not hard to spot why they're there. Maybe we're shallow here. We only do a 38. Right, again, it wouldn't be uncharacteristic of Bitcoin to make a shallow retracement. But if we come back to where I was just as we looked at the other account, if this is not in and we need to put in an X here via a flat, then we're looking for a swing down that would break these lows, right? So it would bring it down to, perhaps this high volume node here because there will be no support here because of how we went up so fast. So it potentially, right, the X is still underway, A, B, C into an X before we come down. What would be A, B, C? Maybe we get here, maybe we don't. Maybe we hold here on the ledge, right? It's often, right, if we break one ledge, we're going to the next ledge. If we do that, Boy, I'm going to get, even though I know, right? It's like you're going to look at your account and go, oh shit, right, it's coming down. Right? I was at 110, now we're at 90. Yes, but if you're trading Bitcoin long term, as we encourage you to do, okay, right, you're just riding out the correction. Right now, the question, if you have capital to allocate to Bitcoin, then you're looking for the right timing. Is this the right timing? I would propose not. Well, first, right, if you didn't buy this, and maybe you did, maybe you didn't, right? I didn't. If you didn't, we're vertical, right? It's always easy in hindsight. Oh, God, if I just bought the sweep of the low. Okay, right, but now we're going straight up, right? And we have not, we're one time framing, right? Even here on a 3 hour, right? We haven't swept the low of any of these, right? So we don't even know if we have a pivot. We have to get up here and then start a retrace so that we can identify this as a good low. I mean, this break here, right, kind of changed the name of the game. Any kind of consolidation here, there was a possibility, maybe there's a triangle going on in here. But with this just ripped today, encouraging, right? Now, what are we leaving behind, right? So these were fair value gaps that now have been all blown through. So now as we come back down, you have the inverse fair value gap. Here's a traditional fair value gap right here. If we're coming lower, these would all be potential. Now, in context, right? If we're going to do an X, we're looking for an ABC, right? The premise being that the X is going to be higher because that's more typically where you'll find an X. Oh, come here. So it would be A, working on A. Maybe that's the pivot. B, C. So within that context, you can be wrong about the broader count, right? And still just be trading the swing structure. Here, I've got something that's impulsive. Now, I haven't swept any liquidity here, but I've gone from liquidity that I swept outside of the range to potentially liquidity I'm tapping here within the range, external, internal here at this inverted fair value gap. Potential, right? Now, nothing says that couldn't keep going, but you can understand why we're pausing here. It just makes sense, right? And then we've kind of look at the, I've got an alert here. If we start to go up here, that's going to give me a little bit more conviction in this count. But let's say we're wrong, right? And this goes up here and we go 1, 2, 3. Well, why not 4, 5? Why not? Well, the only thing that would kind of lean you the other direction towards this is this, right? The ABC here, where this is going to be our low and we're going to go. It's not that it couldn't be that. You got to pick your shots, right? That's not one that I would lean into. But when we start this correction, well, you know what I'm going to do. Once I get that pivot, I'm going to do exactly what I would encourage you to do. I'm going to look for action down here between the 50 and the golden zone. So can I get that? Now I'm interested. We don't. This is not a great place to trade right near the POC, right? It's just there's just too much. Everybody agrees on that price, right? Oh, fair value. So what's your edge there? You don't. Well, leading question. You don't have an edge there. 1, 2, 3, or we're going down for. Okay, right. So you don't have to be right about the count to make money here. Right? The objective is never, ever to be right. The objective is to be profitable. You can be wrong, still be profitable. You can be right and be profitable. Right? It's all down to money management. Okay, right. So things to consider. I think a little bit more reveal from the market is warranted here. But if you're just jonesing for a buy location, let a pivot form here. We can't really call it a pivot here. Maybe we get quiet over the weekend. Maybe we get explosive. Things that we want to consider is, okay, well, what's going to be the trigger here? Why? Okay, so this is correcting the stupidity of yesterday. Now we've got what's going on with the ETFs, right? We want to see ETF inflow here. Now we had yet one day here on the 3rd was decent. Now we're back to negative again. So you can see the price is being reflected by the institutional buying and selling. Okay, great. On the way up, we're starting to soften a little bit here as we're now making this crash. This is a coin glass here. This is not a paid account. This is just a quick access to this data. You can get it a lot of places, but it's just a particularly good one, coin glass. I'd like to see that kicking back up, but you can see the impulse correction. No, I want some more institutional buying here to give us the legs to get up here. Right, whether we're going down or up. Now, maybe, right, this is reactionary, and with that lack of institutional support, we're going to come. That gives us the retrace. We want the retrace, right? We don't want to. That would be, in my opinion, a terrible place to buy it. Like you're way too late for that. The market doesn't move in straight lines, usually. Okay, right. So that's probably enough on Bitcoin. Just some ideas to consider. I think you just pick your spots, right? That's not a good one for a long. Okay, let me keep moving here. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go over to FLOKI here. I got to give credit to someone that. Oh, he's another Elliottician. I don't know him, but my guys follow him, and we all share the same Twitter account. So I happen to see this in my feed because I think some of my guys follow him. And this was something that he posted. He's an Elliottician, right? He said, Jesus, all you have to do is look at this. I mean, not hard to spot. No suggestion that he's not a great trader. He is a great trader. So here's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, my point being that a fifth grader could spot that. Oh, find the 5 and the 3. Oh, look, in the C, there's a perfect impulse to complete it. And where do we bounce? Duh. Now, that doesn't mean it can't break, right? That's not a guaranteed lock for we're going up to this 3, but it means edge. Because I understand the only variable here that's a little bit tricky here is that we swept this liquidity. This remains a target right here, right? So target. Now, the algo held it. What I would like to see here, just confirming that we have a clean impulse, I would like to see this swept. So if you're here, you can see a little rejection coming here. Could be the day, could be, we'll see, right? I would like to see that break, right? So sweep this high, that confirms the low, right? And we can go, and then I'd like to see that, right? That's the one I'm kind of watching. High volume, plenty of liquidity available here. So can I get into that 3, 4, 5? Now, by the way, let me take that up a degree. What will that be? Not the 3. Right, that'll be the 1 of the 3. Now again, I just guesstimate drawing. Where's the target for the 3? What else do we have here? I hope you've it's already occurred to you. I don't even have to draw it. Members, tell me you've already thought this, right? What do I have here? Golden corner pocket. That's my signature trade, right? So there we have our 80%. Right? So as long as this pivot holds, got to emphasize that every time. 80% is not 100%. 80% odds that I get there. Right? So I've got an algo driving it, right? Clearing a path through the forest. I've got a clear target. I've got geometry. I've got an Elliott count. What's missing? Well, the only thing that's left, right? I want to sweep that high. I want to sweep that high because I'm not anticipating it to go in a straight line. Now, not that it couldn't. I'm anticipating something like that. 5 swings. Does the market move in 5s and 3s? Not always. But when it is, that's, you don't want to say, well, I don't trade Elliott Wave, so I'm not taking that. What, are you a moron? Well, why would you not? Right? Because I don't trade Elliott Wave. Okay, swing retrace. How about that? You want to put it in different language? Okay, well, let's get a market structure shift. Okay, we'll sweep the 4. Right? As I say all the time. You can't trade Elliott Wave and not trade market structure. You can't, right? You can trade market structure and not label the Elliott Wave, but you're still doing it, right? You're just not labeling it. Okay, right? So we got a clear target here. By the way, look at how this is a very, I mean, it's got contender, right? It's an application, use case, utility. It's got a contender to be real. What are we down here? Like, I mean, 0.007. Right, so you can buy some size there. Okay, right. So one to keep an eye on. Hang on a second, I got a few more. I'm going to circle back to Solano and SUI because they're 2 really strong candidates for both longevity, their utility, application, as well as some pretty solid technical pictures here. And I've looked at these the last couple of weeks. We're not, it's been 7 days. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Again, does the market move in 5 and 3s? It would be what you call a rhetorical question. Yes, it does, but not always. But this is certainly a pretty clear example. Now, what's unusual here? That's going to be my 2 at the 38. Well, it's not like it doesn't happen. It's just a bit more typical would be lower, right? Come towards the POC, which is splitting the 50 in the golden zone. All right, well, do we not want to take that trade? Well, if you want to be a little more conservative, right, it would be just like what we were just looking at with FLOKI, right? Okay, well, I'm in this channel. Until I break that channel, I'm just going to keep an eye on it. Break that 4, right? Give me that confirmation here. Oh, Oh, it looks like you'd have the inducement here. So, but this would be a market structure shift. Okay, give me that. Because this is not going to go in, well, not likely to go in a straight line. Oh, shit, my machine's lagging up. We're not likely to go in a straight line. You get the idea. 4 and up for a 5. 1, 2. Where's your money wave? 3. Just like it was down here. 3. It'd be the same thing if I pull back out here. 3, 3. You want to get in those 3s, right? As I said said this many times, right? If you want to be go through our belt system in the purple belt course, after you've completed white and blue, to pass it, we force you to only trade 3s and C's, like to build that discipline. I think it's one of the best things we do for students, but only way to find out, see if you can do it. Okay, right? So you can always join, or you can. I don't do a lot of pimping of my stuff, but my website's over at TradeDevils.com. You can go and dig around there if you'd like to. If you're interested, free Discord to join, all the yada yada, right? I think all probably aware of that. At this point in time, everybody and their brothers and their brother's cousin has their own Discord. But I think you'll find that if you're interested in this kind of methodology and this technical approach, we'd be a good resource for you. Okay, moving on. All right, so there's Solano. Let's get over to SUI, which looks essentially exactly the same. We've had a completed impulse where now we're doing the correction. Does the market move in 5s and 3s? Does it? Could a 5th grader get that? Yeah, I think probably so. Let's pull some of this shit off right here. Oh, let's clean it up a little bit. Get some of that out of there. Oh, they get the inverse off. Okay, all right. So nice clean 5. Right? We've been over this last couple of weeks. A, B, C. Reaction. Now, note where we are. We're not yet. I mean, this, where's the last high, right? We still haven't swept. We want to sweep a high, right? This is all one time frame here, right? We're coming back here. I want to sweep that. That will be the inducement, I think. I'm not mistaken. Oh, that's not what I want. That will be it, right? So this is the last swing high before we go down. So this is all one move. Now as we come back, we want to, if we break that pivot, that confirms this low. Not as an absolute low, but is the low of this swing structure. Oops. Back here, right? So we break this. Can we break? Oh God, come here. Try that again. Can I break here and then come back? Order block and go. I love it when they're ripe the day, on a Friday afternoon when I do these, but often it's just a precursor to the setup, right? Okay, I can't give it to you right now, but I sure as hell would be paying attention here. I'm over on FIMEX, which is our sponsor now, so always glad when I can do that. Here, there's enough data here. Links below. Oh, some perks we give you, right? So as they all do, right? So they want to get you trading, so they'll give you some capital in your futures account if you use our link. Right? I think you'll be very happy with them. They're very fast, right? It's a very stable, solid exchange, right? We're really happy with them. 1, 2, 3 is what we're looking for. What will that be? So if we label it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's not going to be 3. That would be your 1 of 3, right? So all the potential up here for the big 3 still remains. SUI at $10. My opinion, just that. My opinion. Only a matter of time. Just a matter of time. So how long can you wait? Okay, so I got those covered. I think the other thing that we want to think about here, I'm going to do the opposite order. I've been doing bonds last, but I want you to take a look at this because this is going to be a bit of a, it's setting up to do exactly what we want for prices to go higher and the rates to come down, which I think everybody would like to see, but as long as we're not overheating the economy. If I pull this, let's go back to a 4. I've been showing this the last couple of weeks, and I've been tracking it very closely. 5 down, 5 up. All right, so something completes here. So the premise being an ABC completes here into a 2. Then I get an impulse up into a 1. Well, we've been working through this kind of long sideways correction as we wrestle with rates, inflation, the latest data, right? Can we get some hard data so to give the Fed what they need to start lowering rates? Well, I'm not sure we got what we wanted here. Is that with this price action here, of course, price is down, rates up. So with that, it does seem to be playing ball here technically. So I can do ABC here into a W, ABC into an X, and then while it's tricky, there's a 5, 3, 5, 5, 3 ABC. We have a shallow C here, so we get a flat here, and then we come down for the 5 where we double bottom. Now, as I was just looking at with Bitcoin, interestingly, this liquidity does not get swept here. Interesting, right? So let's go to a 1. That liquidity does not get swept, right? Now, it remains a target here. The algos will know that's there. So that's sitting here. Now, if we're looking for a Y, which we are here as a WXA, B, we're looking for the C down here, right? Give us just enough room to sweep that liquidity and set up the 2 here for the 1. If I can draw it out here for the 1, 2. So we'd get there through a W, X, Y. And now, technically, rocket ship is ready to launch here. Prices up, rates down. Now, this may be a bit of a governor on how far the equity market can go. And one thing I will show you here that well, anyone who's been watching this, that's a student of mine or in our Discord, what do you think you're going to find right here? Go ahead and draw it yourself. What do you think I'm going to find there? Because, of course, we'd be looking at, what are we looking at? We're looking at this impulse down. Well, then we've got to retrace. So wouldn't your first question be, that's a pretty good retrace. Wonder why it stopped there. Wonder why it stopped there, right? It's always the question. Why there? Now, you know what's coming. Now, let's get the other one on here for better impact. Let's get my preferred. I got to be at 50, 55,000 times I've shown that. Not the 618. Golden zone. Literally to the tick. Smartest guys in the room. Always, always, always will be the bond traders. You don't think this algo's in here? You would be mistaken. So we got a target down here. So do you see the scenario here? We're coming from here. Well, now we're looking for a C, so we're looking for an impulse. Sure looks like we got to start on a 1, 2. 1, 2. Working on 3, 4, 5. Now I got an algo target down here. Right, that software stays short till it gets here. Could we go that deep? Yeah, we could. No one says we couldn't. We could come down here to this target, sweep all that liquidity, get retail bearish. What happens next? As soon as retail gets bearish, to the moon. Pay attention here, right? If you're trading equity, well, crypto, anything, right? Liquidity, right? This is going to dictate how this finishes. We need that. Oh yeah, I won't get into a whole thing on liquidity, but we certainly need this to resolve and start to move higher, because as prices are going higher, rates are coming down, and that's the rocket fuel that I think we're all waiting for the next big leg up in Bitcoin. That would be my hunch. Something to keep an eye on. Okay, let's finish up over on the S&P, because those two are of course going to be very closely related. Now this has gotten a little bit tricky. Now I'm on the SPX, not the futures here, so we have the opening gap here. But you'll note here 1, 2. Right, it seems pretty reasonable after the. Let's go back to this, right, just for review. The wild card in here is there's a candidate here for another 1, 2, for a 1, 2, 1, 2. It's so bumpy and messy down here. I'm kind of focusing on the blue. If I need that extra 1, 2, well, that's a high class problem. It means we're going so high. I need. Oh shit! I can't even see them. We're up here, right? Is that realistic? Are we going? No, maybe over time. Maybe by 20. I don't know. Oh, I'm on a 1 hour here, but could we be going that high? We could. But I wouldn't. I'm not betting on that, right? So I'm just gonna focus on the one that's the most clear to me. So 1, 2, 1, 2. Well, I'm still working on I'm trying to get to this. I should probably raise that so you can see it better. Trying to get to the 1, 2 here. I'm trying to get to that 3, 4, and 5. So from that 1, 2, shallow 2, but off comes an impulse. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. If I got a 1, 2, where do I expect the 2? Where am I looking for the 2? Between the 50 and the golden zone. What do we get? Now, here's the target, right? So this algo has been paid. You can make a case here that we're just a little shy of the median line here, which potentially, right? But as we moved higher, I think that may be off the rail here. Now, can we get it up here? Can we get a 5 up here to tag it here? This is really close. It doesn't quite make it. Now, in the futures, I think we did make it here. But if you're just trading SPX, if you're an option trader, there's something to consider. So can I get away with the 1, 2, 3, 4? Oh, God damn it, that thing is annoying. Break your mouse and it's gonna stop. 1, 2, 3, 4. Can I get that 5? Now it's a little wonky, but you'll note here the precision here of the. Oh, that was just an alert that I had as we come up to the 1, 4 pivot. And then gap higher today. So it looks like we're off for that 5, which would be the 5 of 3. Now maybe we make the median line. But we don't. But what I would anticipate is if the bonds are going to keep going lower, this is going to have a harder time getting up to some of these upper targets until we start to see rates coming down. Then rocket fuel. It's all potential. I'm not saying there's a trade here. Yesterday, maybe, right? So it's a question of your time frame. Are you trading futures, options, CFDs, whatever you're trading here? You can certainly track this count here. It looks like a reasonable count here. This is very, very close, but not so much that I would disqualify it here as an impulse here, particularly if we get a push up to this high. So if we take that off and we do it with a channel, I'd be here to here. Let's put that in our blue. So, oh shit. So we can, that's what I want it here. So we can keep track of what channel is what. I'm trying to get that 3 here. Bonds start to accelerate downward. You can kind of see a scenario here where we could go up and then start to come back down here as bonds are doing their thing. Hopefully we hold here. We don't overlap this. And then we go up for the 5. Do I know that's coming? Of course not. Just looking for a scenario, because if it does come, I'm right on top of it. Did I get everything? I think I did. How am I at? 32. All right, let's cut it off there. That's probably enough to chew on. Some crypto. Keep an eye over here on this. Right? We don't want to see that start to accelerate. All right, back to the alternate count. It's up to you as whether you want to build an alternate. I always think it's a good idea to have an alternate so that you're not surprised or shocked, right? Or you have no idea what just happened because your primary got blown out. Things to think about. Okay, guys, with that, I wish you a good weekend. We'll be back next week, as always, right? As I said earlier in this little video series here, TradeDevils.com, right? You get access to our Discord. You want to participate. You want to get in on a live stream. You want to learn some of this. Don't take my word for it. Just pop in, ask the other members. Okay, guys, have a good weekend. I'll catch you next week.